ఓకే. హరే కృష్ణ ప్రభుజీ సం మాధవి. హరే కృష్ణ. సత్య ప్రభు ఎలా ఉన్నారు? ఆల్ గుడ్. ఫ్యాన్స్ వచ్చారు. ప్రభుజీ మీరు ప్రసాదం తినకపోయినా దయచేసి కౌంట్ ఇవ్వండి. ప్రసాదం చేయకపోయినా కౌంట్ ఇవ్వండి ప్రభుజీ. ఓకేనా? దట్స్ ఓకే. మీరు తినకపోయినా పర్లేదు, కౌంట్ ఇవ్వండి. లేదు లేదు లేదు, అది ప్రసాదం ఇప్పుడు వేస్ట్ కాదు. మీరు నోటీస్ చేయండి, ఎప్పుడైనా సరే ఇక్కడ ప్రసాదం వేస్ట్ అవ్వదు. మన వర్కర్స్ కానీ ఎవరైనా దే విల్ బి టేకింగ్ ఇట్. యా ఓకే ఓకే. సో So today's chapter is actually today's chapter and next chapter 13th and 14th chapters are too technical. Just a disclaimer before we enter, but it's very easy to understand, but it's too technical, so we need to pay necessary attention. So let us quickly do a recap of what we did in 12th chapter. 12th chapter actually after Krishna shows his universal form, Arjuna asks who are better, personalists or impersonalists, and that's where he Arjuna asks about different varieties of worshippers in personalist category and impersonalist category. So we have gone through in detail who are the people who comes under personalist category, where even Krishna mentions the hierarchy. For example, at once a person can't do a pure bhakti at one go. Then there is a sequence, different options he provides in the bhakti ladder. And similarly, impersonalists also we have discussed almost 10 to 11 categories of impersonalists. How they act, or how we can identify them. So we have given some 10 to 11 categories of impersonalists also. So that's what Krishna mentions in the first 12th chapter about personalists and impersonalists, and Arjuna inquires who is better. Obviously, Krishna says personalists are better, and my bhaktas are better who worship me in the personal form. Okay, that's what Krishna says. And in the second option, levels of bhakti. Even in the levels of bhakti, as I mentioned, Krishna mentions the different levels of bhakti, and each and every sections as per our consciousness we can choose a respective path. Bhakti is the only thing where a person in one life will not start from zero. So depending on his level, for example, once a person in this life gets in touch with bhakti, for example 0 to 10 levels are there, like our school education, LKG to degree school education is there. In our material education, we have to start from LKG. But in spiritual education, a person who tries to know the spiritual knowledge might start the spiritual journey in this life from 5th class itself. No need to start from LKG. So that's what levels of bhakti is mentions about, and who are the true seekers or knowers of the God can approach as per their levels. There is nothing like you can start from zero only. As I used to give the example of one Mataji in Stockholm, who immediately after telling about Krishna, telling about rounds, she started from day 1 16 rounds. But how many of them we come across where they don't start from day 1 16 rounds, right? They know that Krishna is there and this philosophy is right, and they might start from 1 round of chanting, 2 rounds of chanting, 4 rounds of chanting. So we need to understand that levels of bhakti for a person might vary. So it's not a mandatory like our middle education that it has to start from LKG. That's what the point is mentioned in the levels of bhakti, where all the categories are given by Krishna.
Is there a factor of age also? Like some people come and very early.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Some come and very early, some come last of the day.
Yes.
So is it kind of more? They have done the previous
Obviously. Well, if I understand your question, probably your question is like there are different. There is a possibility that one boy at the age of 6 picks up, and there are some people I even have seen they understood the philosophy at the age of 55. Actually, there is one apartment. Actually, that apartment. Not able to recollect. One real estate apartment chain is there. Here, not my home, but some other. Not able to. Satyadev Prabhu का apartment क्या? Not Ramji Prabhu. Satyadev Prabhu का जो apartment है, उस apartment के chain of apartments are there in Hyderabad spread across. उस apartment के CEO थे. I mean the chain of apartments के CEO थे. He has at the age of 55. He got so much attracted with the message of Bhagavad Gita and SSR sessions that he started doing rounds, 16 rounds. So at the age of 55. So Prabhuji, that's what, if I understand your question, so even in this life, you can pick up at the age of 6 years, you can pick up at the age of 55 years, but you will be starting the journey from where you left in your previous life. Is that your question or something different?
I'm just trying to see if we have left.
Yes.
Then why not at this stage we starting from here?
Yes.
Rather than being cross like 30, 40, now
Prabhuji,
right? So,
yeah, Prabhuji. The thing is, again, there are some karmas also, right, Prabhu? There are some karmas which you did, and that also have to be burnt. Then even the same question was asked by that CEO in the session, saying that why Prabhuji at the age of 55 I came to know about this knowledge, why I could not know at the age of 5 or 6, why God didn't attract me and all. Then our Leeland Prabhu said, ki, Prabhuji, there is a lot of good karma which you did, which you need to burn as a CEO of a company. You have to enjoy, you have to, lot of things are there which you have to enjoy. But provided that there was an opportunity, he might not have leveraged much earlier. Probably SSR sessions have much come very closer to him. In fact, his wife has forced him to come, it seems. But earlier, his wife was, inviting him, but he didn't come. But somehow she pulled him this time and got it. But had he been in contact with people much earlier, he would have. But sometimes, probably it's very difficult. Some karma you have to burn. Okay, so that's what levels of bhakti. And next, third one, he talks about what are the qualities in people, what attracts Krishna. What are the qualities in a person, what attracts Krishna. That's what he discusses in the previous chapter also. So if person exhibits all these qualities, he is very dear to Krishna. Actually, that there are sometimes, when you are in the path of spirituality, even if you are not displaying all the qualities what Krishna has recommended, but you are trying to imbibe that qualities, also Krishna gets impressed. There might be so many pure devotees who are exhibiting all the qualities, but the people or the devotees or neophyte devotees who try to even exhibit those qualities, also Krishna gets impressed. So that's what Krishna talks about in the second chapter. And we need to understand, we already told, right, Bhakti Yoga, Bhagavad Gita is divided into 3 sections. What are those 3? Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. Okay, so we need to understand that, I don't know, has anyone seen this Vantage Point movie, English movie? Anyway, let me come to this. See, the greatness of Krishna, if you more or less see in Bhagavad Gita, the topics discussed are revolving around Jiva, Ishvara and Prakriti. Jiva, Ishvara and Prakriti. Who is Jiva? Who is Jiva? We are Jivas. What is Prakriti? Yeah. Nature around us, or Parvati Devi, who is Maya Devi, but his nature around us is Prakriti. And Ishvara is none other than Super Soul Krishna, Supreme Lord. Okay? So if you, at a glimpse, if you see, Bhagavad Gita is nothing but the discussion about these three only. But if you carefully observe, the first six chapters which deals with Karma Yoga is dealing with Jiva. Jiva in relation to Ishvara and Prakriti. So the center of attraction in the first 6 chapters is the Jiva, that is us, Karma Yoga. What Jiva does, how its relationship with Ishvara and Prakriti, all is discussed and centered around Jiva in the first 6 chapters. And next 6 chapters, if you see, which is talking about Bhakti Yoga, is centered around Ishvara, that is Krishna. Centered around Krishna, that is Ishvara. Now, last 6 chapters, which is now, today we are starting, it will revolve around what? Prakriti, yes. So, first 6 chapters, Jiva was the center of attraction, and his activities were obtained with the relationship from Ishvara and Prakriti. Now in the center 6 chapters, that is from 7 to 12, Ishvara, Krishna was the center, and his relation was mentioned with Jiva and Prakriti. Now in the third chapter, in the third lot, that is from chapter 13 to 18, Prakriti is in the center, and how it is relationship is there with Ishvara and Jiva is mentioned. That's what we talk about in the third unit, that is starting from 13th chapter. 13th chapter we will be discussing the same, that there are so these three topics of Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. If you are understanding it, I mean, it is almost you understand everything of Bhagavad Gita. And if you understood means you have to implement practically. Okay, so we need to understand that both Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga should lead to Bhakti Yoga. That's what is being told. Like work, chapter 1 to 6, Karma Yoga, it's leading to devotion. If a person is not able to situate himself in pure love stage, then you can work for Krishna and lead to devotion. And similarly, Jnana Yoga, there are some people who would like to read or gain knowledge and lead to devotion. So that's what is talked about. So, loving devotion. So the thing is, we need to understand that both, though it is sandwiched, both are trying to attempt to come towards bhakti. Okay, now lesson. Not everyone who works for us or knows us or thinks about us necessarily loves us. Am I right? మీ ఇంట్లో పనిచేసే అమ్మాయి ఉంటుంది. There is a housemaid who is working in your house. Does she love you? Are you sure? She might be only knowing you, and she might be only working because you are giving some amount, monthly salary you are giving. So she might like you, she might think about you, she might work for you, she might know you, but can you guarantee she will love you? No, right? No. So that's what is being talked about. So similarly, whatever we do or whatever knowledge we have, its meaning lies in the learning to love God. How to love God? God is a pure entity. Will you agree? Om apavitro pavitro va. God is a pure entity, purest entity. And when we try to know about a living entity, when he tries to know about God, there is a possibility that purity, in fact living entity is also pure. We were also pure, but with the contact from the material world, we become impure. Pillalu, Deva Swarupula, like that, kids are like God, they say. Kids are a form of God in the very young age, they say, right? Without they don't have any negative emotions, negative intentions, nothing. They will be pure. Whatever mischievous they do, they don't do with the intention of hurting or harming anyone, right? So that's why kids are compared with God when in the initial stages. Then later, after getting in contact with material, school, friends and all, they become devils. Homework I will not do. With that friend has not done, so I will not do. Slowly. Chori karna. In our house, our guy will be stealing 5 rupees, 2 rupees for purchasing chocolate. The thing is, we need to understand that God is pure and we living entity are pure, but with the material contamination we have become impure. But with that impurities also, when we try to know about God, there is a possibility that that purity, the original purity, you can attain. That's the process of bhakti. Original purity you can attain. So that's what Krishna talks about. So the pure love is possible between pure entities, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pure, and Jiva is also pure with the association of pure Lord. Then that pure love flows with exchange, and love becomes a possibility. That love really becomes a possibility. There are so many devotees. Of course, when you associate with that kind of devotees, you will notice that. You will notice that love flowing between God and the devotees. So complete knowledge. As I said, the complete knowledge is to know about these three things. That is Ishvara, Jiva and Paramatma. Self, Krishna and world, Prakriti, nature around us. So only once you know this knowledge, that's it. You got the perfection. And Supreme Personality of Godhead is a perfect teacher. Why is he perfect teacher? Can you tell me? Can you guess? Why is he called perfect teacher? Why is Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is perfect? He's perfect in teaching. Because he's God. Okay. that's a good answer. Yeah, obviously he's God. Okay. Affect him. Yeah, that's also right. Okay. You know, I told why is he a perfect teacher? You know, when a student wanted to learn some topic, say some topic. Let me take an example of cricket. Harsha Bhogle. Have you heard of Harsha Bhogle? You know about Harsha Bhogle? Harsha Bhogle, a commentator. He talks that drive, this drive, they should have done like this, they should have done like this. That's how this cricket. When a lot of things he talks about cricket. That is Jnana Yoga. Right? Jnana Yoga. Lot of things he knows about cricket. And in the practicing nets, a cricketer can play a lot of sixers, fours, defense, what a reverse sweep, forward sweep, etc. Lot of tricks he can play in the nets. Lot of things he can do at net, Karma Yoga. But if he is not coming to the ground and not actually playing, what is the use? Right? You're getting me? So the thing is, you know, it is something like the same thing. One Jnana Yoga, if it is not able to lead to playing in the, because you know, even in our schools also we might be seeing, right? Teachers explain, some students quickly grasp by at one stretch. Some people know only when they do in the lab they will learn. Especially I never used to understand chemistry when teacher used to tell about when you mix that with this one, that one, this will come, that will come. I never used to get enter into my mind. But same thing when she used to show in the lab, I used to understand. Okay, so we need to understand that this complete knowledge, when we have a complete knowledge of who is Ishvara and who is Prakriti and who is self, we will get it. And why I am saying Krishna is a wonderful teacher is, for a single issue to understand, he is giving, for a same scenario, some action is happening, he is giving a different version from self, he is giving a different version from Ishvara, and he is giving a different version from Prakriti. When a single topic is given from different versions, then you will understand that topic. Otherwise, Bhagavad Gita, he is discussing only these three aspects. Only these three aspects in a different way, where in the first 6 chapters you are concentrating on self. Okay? So, we need to, you know, so as Adya was saying, he is God. That's why he is perfect. That's why he is perfect. And as I said, like 700 slokas, he can elaborately explain Bhagavad Gita in 700 slokas, and even in 4 slokas also in nutshell he can give it also. That only God can do it. That's why he is a perfect teacher. That's why we say. So anyone who knows who these three things completely, you know the relationship between all the three, then this knowledge is complete, and Lord is a great teacher. And the reason for his great teaching abilities is, one, as I said, covering all the aspects, for a single point covering all the aspects from a different different scenarios. Now before we go to 13.1, we need to understand even why Krishna is a great teacher. Why he is a great teacher? Because the methodology, as I said, he adopts is wonderful. The three pronged approach of one particular scenario, that methodology what he adopts is great. Next one is, in the first 6 chapters, he keeps you Jiva, as I said, Jiva in the center, and similarly all those 3 aspects he covers in relation with all the rest of the 2 things. So spotlight was on Jiva in the first 6 chapters. Karma Yoga, the Nishkama Karma Yoga, like that, lot of Karma Yoga aspects he has mentioned for Jiva in the first 6 chapters. Then he talks about himself in relation with Jiva and Prakriti, that also is mentioned. Then the third topic was Prakriti. He will discuss in relationship with the Jiva and Ishvara, as I told. And it's not only wonderful way of teaching, but he is also showing different versions also, as I mentioned. And this will make sure that student will learn Bhagavad Gita in the same way. Now, can you give an example? Not an example. Let me ask a question. Okay, question is, now in this, as I said, in this third quota, that is chapter 13 to 18, what is he going to talk about? Already you told me. What is it? Prakriti. Prakriti is going to talk about. Now Prakriti is something which is a very fantasy item for so many people. Fantasy item in the sense, poets, they give inspiration. Jharne, Haryali, Peele Phool, it gives inspiration for the poets and even the scientists. How this thing has formed, how this rock has formed, how this lava has formed, what is the distance between 2 planets. That's also one kind of a inquisitiveness which scientists have in knowing about nature. Similarly, birds, we get surprised at one snake with 5 heads. Have you seen any snake with 5 heads? I have seen. No, not 5 heads. I have seen the snake with 3 heads. 3 heads. I was amazed to see a snake with 3 heads. Telugulo Shikandi antaru. Telusa one snake by name Shikandi. It has, I have seen, because in our village floods were going on in my village. So in that floods, some birds or some reptiles have fallen in our field. So there I have seen one 3-headed snake. 3-headed snake. So it's how nature is sometimes amazing. Sometimes different birds will make different kinds of noises or voice. We are surprised, right? How quail, how does it, the sound, it really gives different perceptions to nature. So different kind of environment what we have lot to learn, lot to know, lot to get inspired from. So Prakriti is really very awestruck. So what is this nature and how it is related to us, we will try to understand. How it is related to us, we will try to understand. Now, in the 13.1, Arjuna says, "Oh my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, 1, Purusha, 2, the field and knower of the field, 3 and 4, and knowledge and object of the knowledge, 5 and 6. There are total 6 things, 6 items what he mentioned, Arjuna mentions, which we need to know. Prakriti, Purusha, field and knower of the field, knowledge and object of the knowledge. Okay, so that's what we will try to know. So in this thing, what is the question for everyone? What is the field of work for farmer? What is the field of work, or kshetram? Prakriti, Purusha and your field. What is the field What is the field, or what is the, what is the field of work of a farmer? Huh? Agriculture. So the farmland, basically the farmland where he stays. So the farmer will be knowing about only his field, allotted field. రైతుకి తన చేను గురించే తెలుసు, రైట్? సో హీ విల్ బి నోయింగ్ ఓన్లీ అబౌట్ హిస్ ఫీల్డ్. From that farmland, what else you can get? From that farmland, what else you can get? మీ చేలోంచి what else you can get? Different crops,
fruits, vegetables.
yes, all these things you can get. So now what you can compare with this field, whatever the field of work, that is farmland, what a farmer is trying to use, it is compared with our body. Our body is the field. That's what Krishna is mentioning. Kshetram. Our body is the field. Okay? And the farmer is the jiva, soul. Farmer is the jiva, soul. So who is kshetrajna? There are terms, right? Kshetram and kshetrajna. We are trying to understand what is kshetram and what is kshetrajna. What is kshetram? Body, our body. What is kshetrajna? Knower of the body, or the knower of the field. Kshetrajna is agna means knower. Kshetrajna means knower of the field. Kshetrajna. Now, who is the kshetrajna for that field, farmland? Farmer is the. And who is the kshetrajna for the body? Soul. Are you sure you know about your body? Right? Don't you know? You know, right? Okay. Okay, now tell me, question for everyone. Is there a difference between Krishna and a living entity knowing the field? Who else would be knowing the body or knowing the field? Apart from farmer knowing the farmland, who else will be knowing know about that field which was given to farmer? Yes, he knows. So because even he will be now coming to the farmer example, farmer knows about the field, and also apart from farmer, the king who has given that farmland to that farmer also will be knowing about the field. Similarly, as Satya Prabhu rightly mentioned, we need to understand that kshetrajna, you are right, the person or the jiva would be knowing about his body, but along with him there is one more person who would be knowing about the body, who is nothing but Paramatma, that is Krishna.
In outside, that is that field, that one of that field, who has given that field to the
farmer?
He knows.
That is king. For example, in this case, king. So apart from the farmer, king also would be knowing know about that field because he has given that to the farmer. Similarly, our body, we will be knowing it, that is jiva will be knowing it, but apart from jiva, who else will be knowing? Apart from jiva, who will be knowing? Paramatma, that is Krishna would be knowing. Okay. Now what is the difference between Krishna and living entity in knowing the fields? What is the difference between Krishna knowing about your body and you knowing about your body? What is the difference?
That farmer, how to manage that field to get the crop like that. Krishna is a knower, but doing he knows the difference.
No. I am not talking about the results yet, or crops I am not talking about, but about knowing about the field. You said that about us, our body, you know about your body, and Krishna also knows about your body, right? Right. Now what is the difference between you knowing about your body and Krishna knowing about your body? What is the difference? What is the difference between Krishna knowing about your body and you knowing about your body?
Krishna knows things which we also don't know about our body. Our capabilities.
Okay, that's right. Anything else? Krishna knows not only your body, but Krishna knows all other bodies of all other souls and all other bodies what you have taken in previous lives also. That is the difference between soul and super soul, where super soul would be knowing, that is Krishna would be knowing not only your field, but he also knows about the fields of all the living entities, including a small insect. Krishna is aware of all the fields of all the living entities. That is the difference. So there are some foolish people who think that Krishna also knows the body, I also know my God, my body, then I am also God. Right? Krishna knows about my body, I also know about my body, so I am God. There are some foolish people who think like that, who try to compare themselves with Krishna, which is utterly wrong, and I am sure we are not foolish enough about to think like that. So that's a wrong logic. So if anyone knows all the three, that is body, soul or super soul, if anyone knows who is God or who is body, all the three like body, soul and super soul, that is called Gnana. Gnana, Gnana. So who knows the detailed information about body, soul and super soul, that is called knowledge or the Gnana. We heard about Kshetram, Kshetragna. Kshetram, Kshetragna we know. Gnanam, Gayam. Gnanam and Gnayam we will try to understand. So as I said, all these three are known to be Gnana, and we need to understand that how these are connected as well. So here he is saying, Krishna is saying, Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetram. This body is called the field. That's what Krishna is saying. This body is called the field, and is comparing with farmer and field of work and land as we mentioned. Now, who is Kshetragna also is mentioned by Krishna here, and Krishna says Kshetragna means one who knows the body, so that is the individual soul. No other, again Arjuna asks, apart from soul, is there anyone else who knows about the field? There is, I am also the knower. What is the difference between the two? That's what Arjuna asks, and he says, I, super soul, am the knower of all the bodies. The Jiva knows only his body, but I know all the living entities' bodies. That's what Krishna confirms. Now, here these are the 6 things, Kshetra and Kshetragna. Now, as we took the analogy of farmer and farmland, field is the Kshetra and farmer is the Kshetragna and king is also Kshetragna. Similarly, body, soul and super soul. So, if we know all these 3 things, that is called Gnana is being mentioned here. So, we need to understand that how well we are connected with the comparison, like all this body, soul and super soul, how well we are connected. We need to understand that. Now, next question to everyone. Which country has most number of universities? Which country in the world has most number of universities? Okay, anything else? US का बहुत चाम बहुत ज़्यादा है. Okay, US no is wrong. Most number of universities in the world. Which country has most number of universities? India. That's right. Some 31,097 universities, as per the survey from 2021. Okay, so okay, we are having almost this is the stats. Okay, so in total, in fact, so whatever 31,000 was the total number of universities in the world, and among them India is having 4,000, almost 4,400 universities in the world we have. I mean India we have. So India is first, next is United States. So now, can you tell me what kind of knowledge is given in these universities? Massachusetts, earlier we have seen that. What kind of knowledge is given in those 4,400 or whatever 31,000 universities across the world? What kind of knowledge is given there in those universities?
Regarding Prakriti.
They are giving the knowledge of Prakriti, how to work with Prakriti, how to gain more money, how to be luxuriously living,
Basically, extract and exploit.
how to what is it?
Extract and exploit.
Wonderful term, extract and exploit. So all this knowledge in these universities are only dealing with extract and exploit. Okay, extract and exploit. No, it might be sounding very silly, but if you understand the core, that's what is happening. That's what is happening. I am also working. I am also making people work till late nights, such that I am getting good profits to my company, and get good benefits to company, and getting good salary to me myself. Right? Is it not? Yeah. So all this university. So the knowledge is like, as we said, it's a knowledge about matter, and as Prabhuji rightly mentioned, extract and exploit, and how to deal with matter and to stay in Prakriti is being dealt in those universities. Now Srila Prabhupada once goes to Massachusetts. I don't know how to spell that. Massachusetts. More Gragatla. Massachusetts. Okay, Massachusetts University. That's one of the most popular universities in the world, where Srila Prabhupada goes there and asks whether are there any books or libraries discussing about soul and Paramatma. He asks, is there any technical department to study about the soul and super soul? Nothing. So like that he asks. So they say no. Then we might ask a question: what is the disadvantage of not knowing about soul and super soul? Why we need to know? Why we need to know about soul, super soul? Anta baane jarugutundi kada. Enduku bhai? Jeevatma, Paramatma. Why we need to know? I am able to manage it.
So that we can go back.
Yes. Okay. That's really very important point. If we should have that knowledge such that we are not get entangled in this material world. Actually, my boss Satya, who is there in my current organization, he is a very nice devotee, and he works as a India head for our company, and whenever there is an opportunity, even in the office also, when the free time is there, he goes through YouTube links of this Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vibhavari, all the sessions he hears. And one day, myself and Satya Prabhu, both of them were standing in one satsang, and he was asking. We both were standing, and we were seeing something, and he was saying, Prabhuji, are you able to see that clearly? Are you able to hear that clearly? Prabhuji, I am able to see it clearly and I am able to hear it clearly. I said. Then he said that, I think I am getting old. I am getting old. I am able to see the difference, that I am getting old. And he is well aware of it, and he takes he wastes no time. Even in a free time also, he tries to see how to connect it with the God. His cabin has a lot of Krishna books. In his cabin also, he is having a lot of Krishna books, and whenever time is there, he goes through the links and tries to understand. He reads a lot of them, and he goes to colleges also. Yesterday he has gone to CBIT for giving a session on power of habits. So intelligent people tries to know the higher knowledge, and they know the importance of this life, and we should not waste this human life, and we should improve ourselves to come near to the Lord. And he is an inspiration to me. When you say that what is the disadvantage of not knowing, I am able to manage it now somehow. I can manipulate or control. Don't need to be there is no need to know whole knowledge. I am able to manage. I am able to earn good amount of money. I am able to take care of my dependents. Why we need to know about spiritual knowledge? There might be people, but the nature of this material is dukkhalaya. This is dukkhalaya. So we need to prioritize our things in such a way that we are coming near to the God. So that's what is being said about. So this is the thing, and that's what Srila Prabhupada asked, where is the technical department to study the spirit, soul, and that drives the body. People, scientists are trying to understand where this life force is coming from in our body. All is given in scriptures, but they will not be in touch. The lesson is, unless we acquire the knowledge of soul and supreme soul, that is spiritual knowledge, then no matter how much knowledge we have, it remains incomplete. And as long as our knowledge remains incomplete, how will we be able to experience the perfection within ourselves? Perfection within ourselves. Spiritual knowledge is something, if you are implementing practically, that perfection, that results, you will be knowing internally. Within yourself you will be knowing that you are very happy, well placed. There are so many devotees who are not materially rich, but they are very happy with their lifestyle. That is something internal, It's not, but we people, we try to get the happiness movies outside, kitty parties outside, lot of things. But when the person who is in knowledge and tries to gain that knowledge and implement that knowledge, he can find the perfection within himself. Okay, so that's what is being said about. And now Arjuna asked, tell a little more about Kshetra. Can you tell a little more about Kshetra? That is field, that is our body. Krishna says, okay, I will tell you, but very briefly, because it's war time, right? We can't elaborate. I don't have much time, but I will tell you briefly. He says, just out of curiosity, where can one get the detailed description? So in the middle of the war, he is asking all those things, Arjuna. Okay, can I know more detail about Kshetra and all? So Krishna says, in various Vedic writings by various sages, especially in Vedanta Sutra, you can all know, once the war is over, if you are alive, you can go and check, like that Krishna was saying. So here, Krishna tells about our Kshetra. Our Kshetra is made up of how many elements? Can anyone guess? How many elements are there in Kshetra? Panchabhuta. Not only 5. You are only talking about 5. Anything else wrong? Huh? Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, there are total 23 elements. There are total 23 elements in this Kshetra. What Kshetra is made up of, our body is made up of. There are total 23 elements, and these are the. What is the Kshetra made up of? These Pancha Mahabhuta, as Satyaprabhu mentioned, these are the Pancha Mahabhuta: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas, sense objects, and subtle elements. So mind, intelligence, false ego, and Pradhana is something when the creation is formed. This is a unmanifested form of 3 modes of material nature, which we will in detail discuss in the next chapter. What is Pradhana and all. But we need to understand that these are the 23 elements what we have. What our body is made up of. Okay.
This is 23 plus 1, right? Soul is
Super soul. Yes.
soul is also.
Yes.
And it includes 24.
Yes. 24. But I am talking about only body. Since I didn't bring about soul, soul is different from body. So I am talking only about body. Of course, in body the soul stays, but I am talking what this body is made up of. So I have not considered soul here. I am only talking about our material body.
So in this soul also.
No, in this soul is not there. In this soul is not there. Soul is a different entity. So this is only about body, because the soul might get different bodies, right? Soul, there is a possibility it might get different bodies, but our material body is made up of all these things. Our material body is made up of all these things, and in this material body, soul is there. I am only talking about the Kshetra made up of, that is the material body made up of, but our soul is not material, it is spiritual. Okay?
This basically there is 2 parts, one gross and one subtle.
Yeah.
Body includes both parts. Gross and subtle.
But here the subtle elements are also given. In the subtle is mind, intelligence, and false ego. But I am not calling soul as a subtle. Yeah. I am talking about only the material aspects of a physical body, Kshetra. Okay. Yeah, if including soul, you can call it as 24. Okay. So these are the any questions here? You know, all the karmendriya, sense objects. So taste, form, touch, sound, and everything is there within us. Yeah, Prabhu.
Central body carry mind.
Yes. It will carry. It will carry. It will carry when you are leaving the body. When you are. Yeah. Now I think your question is, body is a material. How come you are including the subtle elements in the material body? But Krishna is saying that even this material body also, there is a possibility that subtle elements are also included, because sometimes when we take the form of one particular body, even the mind, intelligence and false ego is also expected to change little bit. There is a possibility that depending on the body you take, it might change. So that depends on the body also. Of course, it's not a major factor. And when a soul is leaving from the body, all these three go along with it to another body. But once it takes a specific new body, there is a possibility that it might change. Little impact would be there. Okay. So yeah. And now, what transformation occurs in a material body? What transformations occur in a material body? What are those stages called? Birth, grow, stagnate. Yeah, there are total 6 stages. These are birth, growth, maintenance, production of byproducts, deterioration and death. So these are the 6 stages what a field goes through. So now you tell me, which of the following changes occur in a dead material object? For example, I take a phone. iPhone I take. What is the how many transformation does a phone go? What is the transformation a phone go? So phone is a dead material, right? This mic is a dead material. So this dead material object, how many changes it goes? Because living entity, as you mentioned, 6 changes it goes through. But what about the dead material? How many changes? No change. So only change what it goes is deterioration. Dead material object only goes through deterioration. That's it. Not even birth, growth and all, nothing is there. It's built, it deteriorates. That's it. Okay. So as in an example of farmer requesting land from king, depending on what you grow, he allots that kind of land. For example, you go to king and ask Raja, I need one farm because I need a field to live. Then he says, how many family members are there? He says, I have 10 family members. Then he says that you take 2 acres of land and grow whatever you want. Similarly, some other person would be coming with 17 or 20 member family. Then accordingly he gives a big field. So similarly, we need to understand that depending on our desires, depending on our actions, we get the respective body to enjoy those karma phala what you have. Okay. So as an example of farmer requesting land from king, depending on what you grow, he allots that kind of land. And similarly, God also allots body to us accordingly. So depending on our past karmas, depending on our desires, if we have necessary karma balance, then you will be getting the respective body. Our Shruti Mataji once asked in the temple, can I fly? Can I fly? She asked. Yes, you can fly. You desire to fly a lot and do a lot of good things in this life. Next week you will be surely born as a pigeon. That's what is mentioned. We need to understand that. Now, one curious case. Have you ever searched like this? why God made me. Even if you do search now, you will be getting these options. Why God made me means like this. Why God made me like a girl. Why God made me disabled. Why God made me short, different, alone, single, woman, suffer, etc. Why God made me like this. Yes. But lot of people don't know. Lot of people know in that pain they are ready to go through pain. God is very impartial to me. God did this like to me. I am such a nice person. Why he did like that to me? They curse. They go away from God. They go away from God. Yes, but how many people when they are in difficult situations think that this is due to my past karma? Logically speaking, how many of them think? How many of them think that whatever the difficulties I am going, probably it's for my purification, and probably it's due to my past misdeeds what I did. That's why it is happening like this. How many people think? No, right?
Unknowingly, they are blaming God.
No, that's what. Unknowingly they are blaming God.
For example, my younger brother, and Corona he died. His daughter, by repeating, she is telling me, God is not there. If God is there, why my father?
That's what ignorance. This is ignorance actually. So what is the daughter expecting to live for another 100 years? And logic, See, of course, we should be there. A person who is there in sorrow, it's not that we should go and make a fun of him that you did karma, that's why you go. I don't mean that to say, but we need to understand that its time has come. It is something natural which is happening, and if something is happening, it is either due to my past deeds or God is trying to make me understand something. That's why He is doing like that, or due to my past deeds, it's happening like this. This is the way we need to think. Whatever is happening, it's either my past deeds, but something negative is happening. We should not make fun. We should be there with them. We should give a solace hand. We should give our shoulder for whatever crying or is there. But we should sit up. We should be there. If someone is in pain, we should go and we should talk to them, solace them. And there we should not go and give Bhagavad Gita knowledge. Karma, your father did like this, that's why he went early. No, that's not the intention. Okay, so that's what we need to understand that why I am like this, as Satya Prabhu rightly mentioned, because of my past karmas, because of my misdeeds, whatever negative is happening. But some people, they think that it is a very pessimistic approach, especially the materially qualified people. Something negative is happening, they are not because they have seen that much material success in their life, that something negative happens, they will not be in a position to bear. Because that much pride is there that we are materially this much successful. How it can happen to me? We are the best planners. I have seen so many people very very close quarters will be like this. So instead of lamenting, how best you can use this. How many of you know Michael Jackson? Everyone knows Michael Jackson. Somehow Michael Jackson, he was a black by color, but later some surgery he did and he suddenly became white. Whom do you like? The black version Michael Jackson or white version Michael Jackson? Whom do you like? You remember, right? Michael Jackson, basically he's a black, but later did some surgery, nose sharpening and white skin and all he got. Do you know or not? Whom do you like? White Michael Jackson or Nalla Michael Jackson? Only Michael Jackson, okay. No color, okay. But somehow I like the original Michael Jackson who was in black in color. Now after doing the necessary surgery, nose sharpening, white, this thing, he was looking like a ghost, to me at least. To me at least, he was looking like a ghost. So, you know,
I think because of the changes only he died.
I don't know, I don't want to get into that scenario because it's getting recorded. I mean, it's not only with him, Prabhuji, there are a lot of, you know, especially in the industry, cine industry, they do a lot of things to their body, lot of chemicals they inject. I heard some people go to foreign and leave their current blood and get a fresh blood in their body, cine industry. People, to make them fresh, even at the age of 60, 70, why they look young and fresh? Because they go to other countries and old blood they will remove and new blood they will get it. I don't know to what extent it's right, I'm not sure. But we need to understand, you know, the originality, why this context is coming. So instead of lamenting that I am like this, I am black, white, if I'm white, I'm good. Externally we'll try to do lot of things, surgery, blood transplantation, skin transplantation, and all those things happen, which is not right. We should accept the current situation and move on. Okay, so why I am like this, already we discussed. So lesson, wherever we are and however our body is, it is all because of our own actions. When a person understands this, he or she stops complaining to God and his or her attitude towards life changes. See, when your entire time is getting wasted on why God did this like to me, rather than putting energy in lamenting, if you are putting your entire energy or focusing in something more progressive, how it will be? If you are going in this part of lamenting, there is a possibility you can go to depression. There is a possibility you can commit. There are a lot of people who commit suicide also, unable to bear the situation. And this we have seen even in the elite people, so-called materially settled well people also. I mean, I usually quote that person, hero, who is it? Rajput, Sushant Rajput. Right? The cinema actor, money ka kuch problem hai, nahi hai. Handsome guy, right? Handsome guy. I don't know whether it's confirmed whether he got suicide or not. I don't know. But so many things were said that he committed suicide. So, you need to accept the situation. And sometimes, even there are situations where people commit suicide for their own actions only. They do the action and they fail and they commit. So we should understand that karma is very complex. Karma is really very complex, and as you see in this picture, there is a person who is growing all kinds of flowers or all kinds of seeds he is growing. But can you guarantee that all seeds he is growing started growing on the same day? Are you sure all would be sprouting at the same time? All would be giving fruits only? All would be giving flowers only? We can't guarantee, right? Similarly, for all our actions, the reactions won't be immediate. There is possibility sometimes the reactions would be in the same life, sometimes the reactions might be there in the next life also. My kid, if something he steals, in less than 1 week or 10 days, we will know that he has stolen some 5 rupees. And for that 5 rupees stealing, actually he purchases this chocolate in the supermarket, and he steals some 10 rupees in the purchases. Then who has taken this 10 rupees from the purse? No, I didn't take. Then we will say, hey, in that supermarket that camera is there, we will try to catch you. Then he was saying, no, camera these days they do morphing also. Who knows, they might have morphed my image. I didn't do that. No, even after getting caught also, sometimes people, they are not ready to accept. No, same, even the elder people also, there are some people, they commit mistake and they try to do things which is wrong. So we need to understand that any action, what action is like a karma is a seed and a physical seed. It might be the seed, verbal seed might be there, action seed might be there. So we need to understand that the reactions would be given accordingly. So you have sown the seed and going to produce a crop, and result would be coming eventually. Now, do all the seeds give the same type of plant at the same time? No, right? Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Lock kar de? Okay. In fact, it's not only about different seeds. Even if the same seed on the same day, if you are sowing also, you won't get on the same day. I have seen my village, they vari pandichedi. We have water on the field, and in that water they need to put this vari, English paddy crop. So even those also, though all the seeds are put on a same kind of seed, put on a same day, it won't sprout on the same day. It might take couple of days time to sprout. So we need to understand that the different actions in different actions have the different reactions, and karma is very intricate and complex, and we can't calculate. నేను ఇది చేసిన దానికి నాకు ఎప్పుడు వస్తుంది రియాక్షన్, అది నీకు నాకు తెలియదు, కృష్ణుడికి తెలుసు. నీకు ఎప్పుడు ఇవ్వాలో కృష్ణుడికి తెలుసు. ఈ నోస్. దెర్ ఆర్ సమ్ పీపుల్ వెరీ ఇల్లాజికలీ దే ఆర్గ్యూ, ఐ డిడ్ దిస్, వాట్ విల్ హ్యాపెన్ for what I am doing, when I will get the reaction. Yesterday one boy was arguing with 2 days back, one boy was arguing, yesterday only, yesterday was Shivaratri, so we were there in that Shiv Puja in our community. So some kids were fighting near the basketball. One kid was saying, अरे 100 rupees petti, I will purchase a chocolate by doing 100 rupees. Hey, your mom told no re, you should not steal rupees and 100 rupees and purchase, stealing is wrong, like that your mother told. Then he was telling his friend that I told my mother to steal from me 100 rupees, so that it will be balanced. And a kiddish discussion, 2 kids, one kid was telling that I stolen 100 rupees from my mother's purse, and we will purchase chocolate and we will eat together. Hey, on that day, your mother told me that stealing is wrong, so that's wrong. No, I told my mother, you steal from me 100 rupees, it will be balanced. No. 100 rupees, if he is stealing, he will be getting punished. 100 rupees she is stealing, she will also get punished. It's not that it will balance. It's not like in a Telugu movie, some movie they say, right? Oka chetto talaga, the dialogue it says, एक हाथ से प्राण निकाला, एक हाथ से प्राण को डाला, level అయిపోద్ది, like that he says. I don't remember that movie, but it's not the same. For the प्राण डालने के लिए, whatever the good karma you did, you need to enjoy. प्राण निकालने का for whatever the karma you gained by removing a life, you need to suffer. It's not balance act is not there. I kill here, I do seva there, balance no. A lot of people having this misconception also in the society. So we need to understand that. Now question for all of you. The question is, if one person slaps you, what is your reaction? If one person slaps you, what is your reaction? Suddenly one person comes to you, Adya, Japra Mara, kya karoge? Slap you back. Are there any other options available? Okay, you slap. You. Huh? Any other options available? Gandhiji is there. What will he say? Show another cheek. Anything else? Anything else? If someone comes and slap you, what will happen? Really? Well, I know it's not that practical, but think about it. Suddenly a person comes and slaps you. Probably I will slap not one, multiple slaps probably. But we need to try to understand the different scenarios possible when a person is slapped. First is, as Adya said, she will slap back. Second option is that person will cry. He will not react but cry. Right? There are cases. If you really think about it, you will see a lot of people like that. Some second option is that person will cry and he will not do anything. Third option, he will give him back not only once, like me, tap 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 tap, tap 4 or 5 times he will give. Fourth option. Any other option you are thinking? Huh? Show other cheek. Fourth option. Fifth option. After get up without beating, run away. That's also possible. And seventh option, there is a possibility he might ask politely, why did you beat me? What harm I did to you? I am a good person. Why did you beat me without doing any harm? Another option, very dangerous option. You know what? Can you guess what is the another option? Guess. Very deadly option. Shoot. I am not even asking about shooting. I think it's more deadlier than that. Guess. Actually, that person will not do anything, but he will wait for 19 to 20 years thinking about that and planning in such a way that आप सब तो ओनली टेम्पररी एंजॉयमेंट, एक झापड़ मरेगा तो टेम्पररी दुख मिल रहा है, मुझे जिसने दुख दिया है उसको विथ इंटरेस्ट में पे करूंगा करके 20 years he waits and he gives pains in installments. That kind of people also there, very dangerous, right? Now have you ever thought of it, that kind of people are there? Yes, there are people who will not retaliate immediately, but they will accumulate themselves and prepare themselves mentally, and they will try to harm in such a way that they are harmed to the core with interest. Okay, so that's how we need to understand that. So whatever we do will be surely coming back to you in one or the other form. One or the other form it will come back to you. That's what we need to understand. So always each and every body will be having their own restriction. Thin body, it has its own restriction. Fat body, he needs 2 chairs to sit. White body, he is very proud of his body. Black body is a little bit probably not comfortable. So whatever the body you are getting, it will be having its own restrictions, and we should accept that restrictions and try to not to pay much attention to that restriction, how to solve it and all. Try to think about more constructive things, like coming near to the God. How can I come near to the God? Okay, मुझे ये इतना नेगेटिव, मैं इस नेगेटिव हालात में हूँ. Why I am try to understand why I am there in this negative halat. Try to understand from the people who might be able to answer, who is knowledgeable. You should think about that. Okay, so now how many qualities have been described? The thing is the kshetra. Yeah, the kshetra. Arjuna asked, the kshetra very much restricts one's freedom. That's what I said. Black body, white body, thin body, fat body and all, the kshetra very much restricts one's freedom. How to transcend this limitation? If you understand whatever materially situated people also, materially well situated people also, with their respective body, they have their own restrictions. Now, do you agree or not? Our own body, everyone has their own restrictions. Now, how to transcend this limitation? That's what Arjuna asks. How to transcend this limitation? Krishna says, by only knowledge. Oh, I see. How to acquire that knowledge? Now here he talks about how to acquire this knowledge. Here he talks about, Now here there are a lot of things mentioned. Let me put this in English. So English, how to acquire this knowledge? There are almost 20 qualities mentioned. Actually, Krishna gives a definition in this chapter. What does a knowledge comprises of? There are 20 things. What does a knowledge comprise of? Means Krishna gives only 20 items. These all are knowledge. Except for all of these are knowledge, and apart from these 20, all are ignorance. That's what Krishna says. Now, we try to understand what are those. In a single verse 8, he gives almost 8 to 9 qualities. Let us see what are the qualities. Adil, can you read? Humility is the first quality. Pridelessness is the second quality. How many are there? How many qualities are told? Tell me. How many qualities are there? Nine qualities are being said. Okay, humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control. Here there are only 9 qualities given in a single shloka. Apart from 9, there are some 11 other qualities mentioned in 9th, 11th, 10th, 11th and 12th sloka also. So there are 20 qualities or 20 items of knowledge which says those are the knowledge. So humility opens, first quality is mentioned. Why humility is given as a first quality? Any guesses? Why humility is given the first quality? First item of knowledge. Why humility is given as the first item of knowledge?
Then only we learn something. Then only we accept something.
Yes. Once you are humble, if you are humble only, you will accept. If you are not humble, you are not somewhere, some obstacle would be coming where the knowledge will not flow. You should be ready for accepting. So,
First step only fail.
first step itself you will fail. If you are not humble, for sure you will not get Prabhu. Bhagavad Gita is such a, why Krishna says Bhagavad Gita is a guhya jnana, secret knowledge. What is secret? Where book is in front of you and entire knowledge is there in front of you. If you are not humble, you will not understand. That's the greatness of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so Krishna mentions, humble. Why humble? Because this humility opens the door of spiritual knowledge. That's what we need to understand. And humility is the only character which gives the door for other qualities also. So it creates the space to learn. Otherwise, we might be pride of knowledge. There is a possibility that we might guru. Hindi mein guru bolte na. Pride means guru, right? We will be having a guru of whatever the material knowledge we are gaining. So that's why humility is a very important aspect for getting this knowledge. So what is to be known by these qualities? What is this known by these qualities? As I said, 9 qualities are mentioned in the 8th sloka, and 9th to 12th shloka there are almost 11 qualities mentioned. Bhagavad Gita. Oh, is it all locked? Open, right? Yeah, give it. So there are 9 qualities we read in 8th sloka. Here it is. Yeah. Actually, in Bhagavad Gita, if you see, 8 to 12, all are given in a single page. Slokas 8 to 12, where all the qualities are mentioned. So 8 qualities we have known. So if I read the 8 translation, Krishna says, humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, and self-control. Self-control, 8th. Now extra 11 qualities, what are they? Renunciation of the objects of sense gratification. 10. Absence of false ego. 11. The perception of the evil of birth, death, old age and disease. 12. Detachment. 13. Freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home and the rest. 14, right? 14?
Yes,
14, yeah. So then freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home and the rest. 14. Even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events. Sita Prajna. 15. Constant and unalloyed devotion to me. 17. 16. Constant and unalloyed devotion to me. 16. Aspiring to live in a solitary place. 17. Detachment from the general mass of people. 18. Accepting the importance of self-realization. 19. And philosophical search for the absolute truth. 20. All these, Krishna is saying, all these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance. is ignorance. Prabhuji, I did my Java. Prabhuji, I did my network. Prabhuji, I did my project management. Is this not knowledge? Automatically, if you have all this, remaining all you will be getting it. Because they would be Krishna says that if you have all these qualities, you will obviously you will be taking care of rest of the things. But that thing will not be priority for you. I know it might be very renunciate. I think that's the reason why we are not mentioned in the slide. Moving away from home, aspiring to go away from home might be creating a negative impact on the people, where we are asking to not stay in the home and go away, leaving. That doesn't mean that you need to leave the responsibilities of whatever dependents who are depending on you. No. Okay. So the Kshetra very much restricts one's own freedom by knowledge, and this knowledge is given here. These are the 9 qualities and 11 qualities. In order to awaken spiritual knowledge, these 20 qualities have to be duly accepted. These 20 qualities have to be duly accepted. Now, what is to be known by these qualities? What is to be known by these qualities? Brahman. Now, here Brahman is used not for the effulgence of the Lord. Here Brahman is used for Jiva Brahman and Paramatma. Okay, Jiva Brahman and Parabrahman, soul and Paramatma. Now the example. What is this, by the way? Camera. Now we will try to understand object of knowledge. And by the way, what do you mean by knowledge and object of knowledge?
Knowing something about the object is knowledge. And what we are seeking or what we are trying to understand is the object.
Yeah. So you are right. But we will try to understand. Camera is there, but you don't know how to use it. Surely you might require a manual for that, right? Manual is it. Now I will come to that. For example, mathematics. Mathematics knowledge is a great knowledge, but that mathematics knowledge, when you are applying as an accountant, as a carpenter, as a finance manager, as a project manager, also as a shopkeeper, you are using that knowledge, right? So here, if you understand the knowledge and the person who is knowing the knowledge are both different. Like object of knowledge is away from you, and the person who is knowing is different, that is you. So basically, this material knowledge, the object of knowledge is away from you, but in the spiritual knowledge, the object of knowledge and the knowledge itself is within you. Are you understanding or confused? Confused?
No.
The thing is now.
This knowledge, after completion of some education, you are giving training to do the job.
Yes.
That is objective.
Yes.
But knowledge is there. You know everything. That is, you know everything is actual knowledge.
Yes. That is jnana. Yes.
So material knowledge and this knowledge is different.
Yeah. That's what I am trying to say. The difference between material knowledge and spiritual knowledge, the object of knowledge in the material world is outside you. But object of knowledge in the spiritual matters is within you. Because here one who knows is you, and one who has to be known is also you. In you have Jiva and Paramatma. Both of them are there inside. So the one who knows is you, and one who has to be known is also you. That is within you. Okay, so material knowledge and spiritual knowledge, that is the difference. Object of knowledge is external to you in the material world, material realm, and in the spiritual realm, object of knowledge and the knowledge who will be knowing are both within you only. Clear? Yeah. So, he is the one who knows, and the thing that is known, the same is not the same in the material realm, as I mentioned. Now, so knowledge and absolute object of the knowledge are different in the material knowledge. That's what we discussed. So material knowledge is known to know the things out of me, and object knowledge is outside of you. And as I said, spiritual knowledge and object of knowledge is you only, and that is called self-realization. That is called self-realization. Right? Knowing here the object of knowledge and the knowledge itself is you. So in you, what are there? Jivatma, that is you, and Paramatma, that is Krishna, who is there. Now qualities of Gneya. What is qualities of Gneya? Gneya means Gneya. No. Gnanam means knowledge. Gneya means the knower. You said knower only? Yeah, knower. Not giver, knower. Giver is again different. Here, of course, Krishna himself gives the knowledge, but Gneya means Janna, knower. Okay? So here, Gneya is Jivatma and Paramatma, that is us and Krishna. Now, qualities of Gneya, we are trying to understand that object of knowledge within you, that is one is Jiva, that we know, and Paramatma. We need to understand the qualities of Gneya, that is Paramatma. What is the qualities of Gneya, that is Paramatma? Omnipresent. He is omnipresent. Right? He is omnipresent. Yes or no? You accept or not? Omnipresent. I might be, as a Jiva, I might be knowing that in this room what is happening, I might be knowing. But right after this room, outside that gate, what is happening, I don't know. Only Krishna knows. Only Krishna knows. So qualities of Gneya is omnipresent. He is present everywhere. That is first quality. Second quality, since he is present everywhere, he is omniscient. What is the meaning of omniscient? What is the meaning of omniscient? Since he is omniscient, he knows about the area where he lives. So that means he knows about everything. Since he is present everywhere, he knows about everything. Omniscient means he knows about everything. Omniscient means knowing. Okay? Now, if he is everywhere, why is he not visible? If he is everywhere, why is he not visible? Because he himself says in 19th, like 14 to 19 shloka, that he is Sukshma Tvat, due to being subtle. Due to being subtle, you will not be in a situation to see him. That's what Krishna says. Next, another quality, where is he inside us? Where is he inside us? Where is he inside us? Hrudi sarvasya vishtitam, inside heart. Is he divided? No, since he is everywhere, there is a possibility we can divide him also, no? Right? Air, they have divided, I think they are putting in bottles also, oxygen bottles. Right? So, can God be divided? No, he is only one. Now, Krishna compares this feature with the pots. Qualities of Gneya, similar to if a pots are there with water filled pots are there, and sun is there. Will sun appear in only one pot? It will appear all the pots. Sometimes it appears that sun is there in each pot. Like that, that's kind of a shining it gives sometimes, right? So Krishna compares similar to the pots. So he gives a comparison of pots. Similarly, my energies are enough that I am present each and every location, everywhere I am present, he says. So now question. What is the question? When the heart transplantation is occurring, since the jiva is there or the soul is there inside the heart, when the heart transplantation is occurring, your heart gets shifted to other's heart. Will the soul also shift? Why? Why?
The soul is in the body. Body is the covering of the soul, not the heart.
But we are saying the soul is there situated right adjacent to heart, right?
This is a part of body.
Soul is not part of body. Okay. But we are saying that it is in the heart, right? Soul is in the heart. Okay. Yeah. Let me put it this way.
It is not visible.
Yeah.
And it is and no state.
Yeah. So in Ayurveda, it is said that we will be having two hearts. One is Sukshma Hrudaya, and other is physical organ heart. So that Sukshma Hrudaya would be there in the living entity, despite that part is moved. It is given in Ayurveda that there is a Sukshma Hrudaya. So we need to understand that when the heart transplantation occurs, soul will not go to another body. Soul will be there in the same body in the form of with the Sukshma Hrudaya. That's what we need to know. Now, Prakriti. Now Krishna says, Prakriti, what is Prakriti? Prakriti is nothing but one which is enjoyed. And Purusha, one who enjoys. Both are my eternal energies. Now, are we enjoyer or are we Prakriti? Are we Prakriti? Are we enjoyers or enjoyed? But you are enjoying, no? You are going to movie, enjoying. You are getting money every month, enjoying. You are having nice food, enjoying. Right? You are enjoying, right? Why you are not Purusha? You also can be called as Purusha because you are enjoying as well. Yes or no? Is the question? Am I clear? You are also enjoying. And if you are going to a movie or having a pani puri or whatever it is, so you are also enjoying, right? You are also enjoying Prakriti, no? You are also enjoying Prakriti. How can Purusha be Arjuna? How can Purusha be energy? And if it is energy, then it should also be called Prakriti. Valid question, no? How can Purusha be energy? And if it is energy, then it should also be called Prakriti. Yes, in the conditioned state, the living entity Jiva, who is my superior energy, out of ignorance, considered itself to be Purusha. In the conditioned state, the living entity Jiva, who is my superior energy, out of ignorance, considers itself to be Purusha. So when in contact with material energy, you think yourself as a Purusha, semi-Purusha.
So that is wrong.
Yeah?
That is wrong.
That is wrong. Actual identity is you are to be enjoyed.
We are not Purusha.
You are not Supreme Purusha. But we are also mini Purusha in some way, but you should not be that. You also think in the material world that you are a Purusha, but that is only due to the material contamination. Due to getting associated with the material world, and thinking. Because if you see, what are the enjoyment you are getting, it's a part and parcel of Maya or Prakriti. Pani Puri, it's a material, right? It's made of atta. That's a Prakriti. You are going to a movie. You are purchasing a ticket and seeing something. That's Prakriti. So we need to understand that our real identity is we are mini Purusha and we consider ourselves Purusha due to the conditioned state. That's it. Out of ignorance, the conditioned soul considers itself to be supreme enjoyer. That's very true. In the conditioned state, when we are in touch with the material world, we think ourselves. Today I am working as a senior program manager. I am leading a team of some members, and I feel that I am Fran's head. I am super. I am this thing, that thing. A lot of people will say tomorrow our CEO is coming. I will be introduced. I have to introduce my team. I have a 1 hour meeting with all the delegates and all. I might feel proud, but after 3 months, due to some major recession, I might be removed. All that role and this thing will come down, right? So we should understand that in the conditioned state, we sometimes feel that we are bosses, which is wrong. We should not think that. 13 or 22. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus he meets with good and evil among various species. So as you are born in this world, you will be interacting with bad people also. When you, as I said, in our community, there will be WhatsApp group called drops group, green grapes drops groups. Drops means whoever drinks, they are having a separate WhatsApp groups. So they will be associating with like-minded people. Every Friday they will be sitting in community hall or somewhere about having a drink. So they are associating with that kind of people. And again, there are some kind of people, they will be associating with devotees. They will be trying to learn about God. They will be trying to know about God. What is spirituality? What is this thing? Every Sunday we meet. Every Sunday morning we meet. Every Sunday evening we meet. We kind of do that. And there are some people who try to TT group is there. Table tennis group. Like-minded people, you are getting polluted. You are getting polluted with, you don't think that I am against playing games and all. But we need to understand what is priority. Okay? So that's what is Krishna talking about. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with this material world. So once you get, how you get mingled up, right? Once you mix up with those drops group people, obviously, hey, the drink is good. Why can't you? They not only start drinking in the community on Friday nights, they will try to form their own group outside also. They try to go and drink with some other people outside. At least now here, only green grace associates, green grace owners used to drink. After you get associated with more people, now you will grow your association. You will go to major pubs in the city and try to meet more number of people with the same like-minded people drinking, and you try to deteriorate yourself much more. So that's how Krishna talking about. Then who is the actual Purusha? Arjuna asks. Then who is the actual Purusha? Upadrushta Anumanta Cha. Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer. So without directly saying that it's me, he says that there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the super soul. Permits, who permits. Whatever the negative thing you do, positive thing you do, he permits. Because you are desiring so. You are desiring to do negative things. The person who is drinking, in him also Paramatma is there, but his desire, Jiva's desire is to drink a lot. Krishna is permitting because it's his desire. So that's what he is saying, that Upadrushta Anumanta. That one is important, where he is sanctioning your desire. He is the actual Purusha. Now, in court, what is needed to prove in any court? What is there? Witness. Yeah. What is there to prove in any court case? Witness or evidence, or mainly witness. Let us witness. So for a case to be proven strong, there are multiple witnesses are to be provided. The more the number of witnesses provided and they are in alignment with the case, that particular party wins. Sometimes the party might have done wrong also, but if he provides more witnesses, he will win the case. So in material laws, human being can break the material laws, but God's laws, never. No one can break the God's laws. Witness is required. So for each and every activity we do, there is a witness. How many witnesses are there? 13? Are you sure? No, 14. Huh? No. 13th is Yamaraj. 14th is Krishna. So slide दिखाने से भी cheat नहीं कर सकते आप. So there are total 14 witnesses. 14. Okay. Leaving Krishna, we are having 13 witnesses for whatever the act you do. So it's something like one witness is in our project also. Something is there. So water says something. Oh no, this Jiva, this Sacha Prabhu has done this thing. I am sure he has done this thing. I am the witness. Are you sure he has done this? Then he re-verifies with earth, fire, air, ether and all. So multiple witnesses revalidate the witness. So like this we are having 13 witnesses. Day, night, evening, sun, moon, demigod. They witness. एक वक्त पे कब पनिशमेंट देना है, यमराज and Krishna are there to see. But these are the 13 witnesses given in the Shastra. Directions also. They are also witnesses. They are also witnesses. Turpu, Padabara, Uttaram, Dakshinam. They are also witnesses for whatever the activity you do, either good or negative. They are the witness. All the directions are also witness. Directions are also witnesses. All the in whichever direction you are there, that particular direction will be witness for your action. So as for Krishna, these are the 13 witnesses available for whatever the act, good or bad act you do. 13 witnesses are there. For a case to be proven, for a reaction to be prescribed. Okay. After the case is done, okay, all these witnesses have given their thing. Now Krishna gives what has to be done for this guy. Okay. So the laws of karma is designed to make us responsible. If this law did not exist, there would never be order and peace in the society. Recently, now I think coming to Vihanga, they have put a new signal. You might have noticed, right? Just 1 week back or few days back only they have kept it. Earlier, otherwise I used to zabt करके मैं immediately right turn मार के आता था. Now we need to wait till the signal comes. Okay, so the laws of karma is designed to make us responsible. Make us responsible. If this law did not exist, there would never be order and peace in the society. One may escape after breaking the laws made by man, but one cannot escape after breaking the laws made by God. If I break the traffic signal, I can give some 100-200 rupees to the inspector and escape. But will Krishna agree? In the laws of karma, will it accept? నన్ను ఎవరు మోసం చేయలేరు, నేను మొనార్క్ని. That's what Krishna says. Okay. On understanding these subjects, a person attains freedom from birth and death. There are other means of attaining the same goal, right? That's what Krishna asks. On understanding these subjects, a person attains freedom from birth and death, and there are other means of attaining the same goal, right? Krishna, like that Arjuna asks. Certainly, there are. I have already told that to you in I think 4th or 5th chapters. Dhyana Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, Nishkama Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. He reiterates again. One who knows, how does he see? One who knows, how does he see? So, how does he see? So, whatever the spiritual knowledge, you might be thinking, now tell me one thing. Have you ever gone to dentist? Everyone might have gone to dentist, right? Yeah. In the last 1 month, I have been visiting dentist a lot for Bhavika. So, Bhavika says that I am getting lot of pain. I might see inside all the tooth, tongue, the small tongue, the skin outside near the teeth or the gums or the color of this thing. I can see. But can I confirm something? Because I am not a dentist. But dentist, he will also see the same items what I am seeing. But he will be seeing with the Jnana Chakshu, knowledge. With the dentist knowledge, whatever he has, he will be seeing that through the knowledge. So that is Jnana Chakshu. So the seeing varies. When you have Jnana Chakshu and a normal vision, it will vary. It will not be the same. The way you think will be varying. Because physically, both the doctor is seeing, I am also seeing the same thing, right? But he is seeing with the eyes of knowledge. That's what we need to understand. What is the difference between a normal person's inspection and a doctor's diagnosis? The same thing as I told, doctor would be seeing with the senses of the knowledge, not with us. Now in Shastras it is mentioned that a tongue itself shows the status of all our body parts. Do you know that? Have you ever known this? Different places of, and after seeing this I realized also, you know, have you ever noticed if you keep any tasty item at the tip of the tongue, immediately you will be knowing the taste. But if you, the same object, if you keep at some other part of the tongue, you will not be knowing immediately, right? But Ayurveda says, see, these are the different components. If you see closely, the color, complexion and the fleshy status of the tongue at the various parts of this tongue, you can know the status of different parts of your body. Intestines somewhere inside. Like that we are having kidneys. Heart also is there. So there are different aspects of it. You can know by seeing the tongue that one particular part of the body is affected. I came to know recently. Have you ever known this? మీకు తెలుసా? నాకు ఇది రీసెంట్లీ తెలిసింది ప్రభుజీ. I came to know this very recently, that various parts of the tongue also signifies different parts of the body. By seeing that part of the tongue, you will know that you are having problem on the stomach, so he will be dealing with stomach only.
అందుకే మేము డాక్టర్ దగ్గరికి వెళ్తే మీ నోరు చూపెట్టినా
చూపిస్తారు. Yeah.
I know about digestion.
That's also given there. Yeah. Okay. If the sun is at one place, how does it affect spread everywhere? Similar to sun, you know, sun is at one place, but its rays are spread everywhere. The knowledge, the God's knowledge is also there, but that depends on how you see it. Illumination. Now we are talking about consciousness. Consciousness, you know, is that energy. Consciousness is that energy of soul spread across the body. I repeat, consciousness is that energy of you which is spread across the body. Now, that consciousness is not there for dead items in our body. What are the dead items in our body? Hair, nails, yes. Hair, nails, dead skin, all are dead items. It will not have consciousness. But that consciousness of us is spread across the body. That is the reason why we can feel the things. We can feel the things. So we need to, it is compared to the illumination of a sun or universe. So sun illuminates entire universe. Similarly, the consciousness of soul illuminates the entire body. Okay. So Kshetra, Kshetrajno, Evam, yeah. So what is, yeah. Witness, we talked about. World is the witness. Yoga of discrimination. Okay, so we are almost done. So this is the lessons. First lesson, karma is a seed. Everyone clear? Karma is like a seed. We are done with the session. We are just recapping the this chapter. First lesson from this 13th chapter is karma is like a seed. And we know karma ka kitna complex hai, and depending on your actions or your deeds, the things might vary or the reactions might vary. It might either come on the same life or different lives. That is the karma is like a seed. Next, freedom is birthright. Freedom is your birthright, but we need to know what is the freedom. It's not like Indians, Britishers say हमको आज़ादी मिल गई, but did we get a freedom? People will say now once this party goes, once हमारा ये party आएगा तो राम राज्य आ जाएगा. Will it come? No. That is not the actual freedom. No, seriously, so many people, especially politicians, they picturize as if, if we come to our party, it's like, entire thing will get changed. Everyone will be living happily. That's how they say. But has it ever happened? At least in my 40 to 45 years of tenure, it never happened. But yes, there are some political parties, where they are attempting, they are trying to help Sanatan Dharma, or trying to create a spiritual progress. So we need to identify. We need to identify, being in this country, being in a democratic country, we need to vote, and we need to vote to the party which somehow, if not entirely, trying to revive Sanatan Dharma or revive God consciousness in people. That is good. But not to the party who are, encouraging bars in 2 to 3 bars in one street. What a funny thing, right? Like January 1st is the New Year day, and there are 2 to 3 liquor shops are opened on for 1 week before, and on the January 1st, on the same day, they know that there will be a lot of people will be drinking, and they will keep police barricades, and they will catch people who are drunkard. They will allow, government allows them to drink, and they will allow them to catch. Two-way revenue, right? One-way revenue is opening the bars. Another way revenue is catching the people who are drunkard.
From two sides, they are earning money.
Therefore, both sides they are earning money. When I really get surprised, I don't know how many of you have seen in that Khajagoda area, that liquid or some Q karke something. And ideally, you are not supposed to open any bar near schools. Near schools, you are some distance is there. 100 meters. Is it 100 meters? I don't know. But near to schools, you are not supposed to open bars.
That's a showroom.
Huh?
It's like a liquor showroom.
Liquor showroom, actually big. An unfortunate thing is, when my client has come, client in the sense, he is Indian only again. Client is Indian only. I was taking him to that liquor shop, and he was asking me, which brand do you like, Mahesh? Which brand is better to take? Sir, I don't know. You take whatever you want to. I'll do the payment, I said. In same that liquor showroom. So we need to understand what is freedom from birth and right. Actual freedom is God consciousness. Actual freedom is how to get freed from this material world. That is the actual freedom. Because what are the other freedom we are talking about? We got freedom in 1947. Are you feeling that after getting freedom in 1947, we are very well prospered? No. We need to wake up. So we need to wake up from this ignorance and try to Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Nanan Janashalakaya. We need to wake up from ignorance and try to understand the real knowledge. We are never alone. We need to understand that we are never alone, and with us always Paramatma is there, not only in this life but other life also. In this life only I am accompanied in this life only with my wife, my kids, or some devotees. But even after this life, Paramatma is the one who accompanies us. Krishna is the one who accompanies us. Life after life, trying to inspire you, come out, please, I am with you, I will help you, come with me. So we are never alone, we need to understand that. Character is power. Knowledge is power. Once a person attains the knowledge, complete knowledge, absolute knowledge, how confident he looks, right? I don't know if you have noticed with the senior devotees, when the knowledge is there, how radiant they are, how confident they are, what kind of character they develop.
No, not only devotees. If you are in a office, if you are in
That's automatically that power or that that the thing is visible, Prabhuji, that you can notice also in people. Okay, so this is what we have seen in this chapter: field knower and knowledge. process of acquiring knowledge, whom to know through knowledge, Prakriti, Purusha and their contact, and seeing through the eyes of knowledge. Okay, any other questions? Any questions, anyone?